Welcome to the Danville Public Library. It's me, Connie, and I'm here today with one of my very favorite characters, Curious George. Now, who doesn't like Curious George? So we're going to read a book today called Curious George, Librarian for a Day. And as you can see, there's George with a big stack of books. And this is a great book. George goes to the library once a week. This time, the librarian, Mrs. Dewey, asked George to help her. Mrs. Dewey gave George a cart, and it held books and DVDs. George had to sort them into two piles, and George was super fast. Then Mrs. Dewey had to leave in a hurry. Her book club needed her. She put George in charge of the library. George wondered, should he put the books away? It seemed like something a monkey in charge would do. George put the books away in record time, and this librarian stuff he thought was easy. Then the doorman came into the library. "Hi, George," said the doorman. "Can you help me find my dog Hundley's favorite book? It's a yellow book." George was very familiar with that color. The yellow books George found were not the right ones. There were a lot of yellow books. Finally, George found the right book. "Thanks, George," said the doorman. Finding books was hard. George was curious, of course. Would the books be easier to find if they were sorted by color? After George sorted the books, Chef Fischetti came in. "I can't find my cat Ganache's favorite book. Mice everywhere," he said. George just needed to know the color of the book. The chef didn't know the book's color, and he didn't think that it was a very, very big book. George looked for a big book. There were no big books in every color. At last, George found the right one, and it was heavy. "Thanks, George," said the chef. George decided to try putting the books in order of size. Little books, medium books, big books. George had the library fixed again. I don't think that's how libraries work," Steve said. He showed George where all of the books about outer space were supposed to be. This made George even more curious. George wondered if all the outer space books go together. Maybe books are organized by subject. Steve said the subject is what the book is about. George needed to fix the library again before Mrs. Dewey came back. Steve helped George sort the books by subject. "It's neat as a pin in here," said Mrs. Dewey. When she returned, she explained that books are arranged by subject and then alphabetically by the author's last name. Alphabetically means in the same order as the letters of the alphabet. Names that start with the letter A come before names that start with B, and names that start with Z go last. Z is the last letter of the alphabet. George had fun helping at the library, but he was happy to go home with his own favorite book. And that's our Curious George book for today. Now, if you come to the Danville Public Library, we're not open, of course, but we have a special craft for you, and it is on the west side of the building. It's on a table, it's in a box, and this is what you'll pick up. It's your Curious George craft. Everything you need is in this plastic bag. He'll look like this when he's finished, okay? And you'll get instructions. You'll get all the parts you need to do your Curious George. And in addition, you're going to get some crayons, and you'll get a tissue holder, and best of all, you'll get a little bag of George's favorite treat, banana chips. And then when you're all finished with your Curious George, you put your banana chips in him just like that, and he holds your favorite snack. So you can read a Curious George book. You can have a snack with George. Now, thank you for tuning in this week, and we'll have a new craft Every week we'll have more for you next week, and try to come by the library and pick up your Curious George craft. Thanks, guys.